Alright, gentlemen, welcome back to the Offside Podcast. I believe this is episode 6. Plenty of football to talk about. Heartbreak over the weekend for some of us. Yeah.
Can't
Okay, we're gonna start with the FA Cup. We're gonna switch around the order. We're gonna start with this weekend's results. Starting with City, Arsenal, big shock. A big shock. Big. Yeah. No one can even dispute that. The Gabonese Jamie Vardy actually turned up for a big game. Who knew?
Light-skinned Danny Welbeck, bro. Wow.
Who knew? He turned up. I mean, Arteta, hey, tactical masterclass against his former boss.
He did
well, bro. Luis also played well, surprisingly. Everything just up, the stars aligned.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
The stars aligned for that game.
You know what I want to say on that game? I think I actually tweeted about it too, is that once teams against City aren't afraid to play the ball, you know, as much as City is a very good ball-playing team, once teams aren't afraid to play the ball, they can actually, do something. Because if you look at the Arsenal goal, the first one, it was pure football. It was passing, confidence on the ball, you know, moving the ball and trusting each other. And then the goal came. Because if you look at most teams that play against City, even City's press is a problem against them. And I think it's a factor of them being scared of City more than them not being able to actually outplay City. I'm not saying they can. I'm just saying at certain times, if you do it well, you can get out of the defense into the attack and create goal-scoring opportunities. That's
True.
I think what happened.
Because also City have a very bad defense as well. So I feel as though with City, if you hold the ball long enough, you'll score. That's literally all you need to do. Hold the ball long enough. Once you beat their press, it's curtains. Because even then, their holding midfield was Gundogan.
It was Gundogan.
And he's a quality player, but he's not a defensive mindset, type of guy. So literally hold the ball long enough. Dude, Mahrez is not gonna take a ball off you. Like Gundogan is not trying to defend. There's that Garcia guy who just came back from a concussion. His keeper just knocked him out the other day. So dude, those guys can't defend. Laporte is coming back from an injury. So they're a very weak defensive team. Hold the ball long enough and you're good.
And do you think they were weak because Fernandinho wasn't playing? Because I've seen a City team where Fernandinho's playing and he's playing. I think there was a game against Liverpool where Fernandinho shut it down. Is he that pivotal to City's success at the back?
And also all around. Another thing I think they missed is Aguero. Jesus is good and he's a good impact player. He doesn't have it to be the starting. Finishing, he doesn't have, he can place the ball and all of that, but in terms of shot power and all of that, one-on-one, you wouldn't back him.
No,
he still has a bit to learn.
Yep, facts. I mean, he's talented, but he hasn't really showed us that he can take over from Aguero. I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, guys, let me jump in there. He's got one of the best goal-to-game ratios, in the Premier League over the past few seasons, The only problem, I think, with him is that he'll never shake off Aguero in a starting because Aguero is that good, Not taking anything away from Jesus, but because Aguero is that good, people will expect you to at least perform at the level that Aguero performs. And maybe he can get to that level, but he needs to play at a team where he's playing in the whole week in, week out, he's playing, he's starting. And he's not getting that at City. And he won't get that at City because we know how Pep is. We know how he rotates players. And Aguero is such a good striker that Pep doesn't rotate him that much. He does, but he trusts him to get the goals and he bangs the goals. So I think personally that if we really want to see the best of Gabriel, is he needs to go to another team, a big team, but a team where he's going to start because he's never going to reach he's never going to reach that potential.
What team does he go to be that starter that's still good enough to be a top team?
Barca once.
Because look at Martial, right?
Once,
Like,
dude, you must
wait. I'm sorry. This Martial slander needs to stop. Like,
wait, no. Let me explain what I'm saying. It's actually constructive. It's actually when I say Martial,
wanting players to just leave.
Wait, Sibo, wait. Listen here, with Martial, right? For the past few seasons, they've always started him on the bench. He was never a consistent starter. That made people doubt his abilities. Am I wrong?
Not me. Martial FC.
He didn't even get to the World Cup because they didn't think he was that good of a striker. But now, since he's starting in, game out, we're actually seeing, hey, this man's an impact player. He's a big player. He's a strong player. But because they had Lukaku, they thought Lukaku was the gem. They thought so and so was the gem. They lost focus on the talent that he was, and he wasn't playing. So that's my chat. Some players get better when you play them more. And Gabriel is one of those players, because at Brazil he bangs in the goal because he's always playing. He's always playing ahead of Firmino. So that's what I think.
Man, that's a fair point.
To the United supporters, do you guys think selling Lukaku was a bad decision?
No.
At first I thought it was a bad decision, but I don't think so anymore, because if Lukaku was still at United, Lukaku is good enough to start. You literally have no reason to bench Lukaku. And if Lukaku is still in the team, that means Martial is not playing. And Martial is younger. Martial has obviously more years, and Martial can develop to be a better striker than Lukaku ever was. So rather sell a guy that deserves to start but doesn't have as much of a future in the club. So, yeah.
I think for me, the Chelsea game, I think Chelsea deserved to win the game. They were a better team across the 90 minutes. I've been saying this, and I've always said...
You don't understand football, Wanda.
I've been saying this.
I'm so sad that you say
this. Chief, wait, listen.
You don't understand football.
I've been saying this, and I keep saying this.
The team with possession and looking good and making nice passes, that's not the best team. That's not always a team.
They created the best chances. They created the most clear chances. Like, come on, bro.
We were more disciplined at the back. We dominated the midfield, and we were clinical up front.
They were the better team.
You weren't clinical up front.
Across the entire pitch.
De Gea was your striker.
Pope, I hear
De Gea
you.
was your best striker on
the game. The game died when De Gea made that mistake, right? That's when the game was killed off. Fair. But if you look on the balance of play, they could have scored 5.
Facts.
They could have scored 5. Facts. And for me, the thing is,
the one clear chance that I say they really should have bagged. There was this one cutback that Mason Mount missed when he just hit it over the bar.
Yeah,
that was beautiful football.
That build-up play.
Yeah, that was okay. They should have scored that. But every single goal, especially that Mason Mount goal, I don't even want to get to that, bro. But from that first Giroud goal, like, what is De Gea doing, bro? What are you doing? Your one job is to keep this ball out of the net.
And for me, it's like I've always said, quote me on this, I've always said, Chelsea have the better coach. If we played the exact same system, but whose boys looked better coached? Whose boys knew exactly what they had to do in all those positions? You have an agenda against Lampard, so no, you're not gonna involve you. But like Lampard's boys were coached better than the United guys. Because if your system is good, guys, you can stick any player in that position and he should be able to get the job done. He won't. When a player becomes world-class, he's overperforming for the system. He's doing things that a world-class player should do. But an average player, you can put him into a system and he'll get the job done. And the United guys, especially Fred had a tough time. And it's shocking because Fred was our best player before the lockdown. So where has that gone?
Facts.
He lost his faith, bro.
Brendan Williams was shocking. Maguire, £80 million fridge. De Gea is a shot
in the pocket.
Like, Rashford is not a striker. When I start thinking Rashford is not a striker, if you even play Tony or Igalo, that match is probably 10 times better. Rashford is not a striker. He's shown us this guy's not a striker. He's not clinical enough. That guy's the most wasteful out of our front three. Yeah, Pope, he creates the most, but he misses the most.
That's true.
He misses the man will miss open goals, bro. That's what Rashford does. And he'll bang in a 30-yarder. Like, the way the team was set up was just wrong. If you're going to set up 5 at the back, Igalo plays. Igalo had to start that game. Like, if you wanted to play 5 at the back.
But there's one thing he doesn't miss.
Football. Like, if Bobby, you can't even tell me that if we had
there's
a
one thing he
1-on-1.
doesn't miss, though.
What?
What doesn't he miss?
Oh, PhDs, bro. You got what I'm saying.
This guy.
Hey, boy.
Like, I think that Chelsea game for United would have been decided on moments, right? And me, I'd rather have Martial in a goal-scoring position over Rashford any day. Any day.
Dude, Martial missed that one-on-one against Southampton, dude. Where he kicked it to the keeper's hand.
Okay, sure.
The keeper showed his hand, yeah. Then Martial said, let me aim for his hand.
Yeah.
And kick it in
that
his hand.
same game, Rashford missed open goals. Let's not have agendas,
it wasn't the
please.
same game.
Or was that Crystal Palace? But no, that's Southampton. That's Southampton. We could have gone 3-1 up. Yeah, Rashford missed.
Oh no, he didn't miss open goal. The defender came and stopped that one.
Chief, how do you not score that? How do you know he was streaks ahead? If he chips that, it's a goal.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing is Martial misses, but Rashford. Oh no, don't even get me started on that, brother. That guy, he misses, bro. Like, yo, it's bad. Like,
facts.
So like, I feel like that game, only the strikers he selected, the guys up top. Even Dan James, can you confidently say that if you see this guy bearing down goal, you're like, oh no, he's gonna put it in? Like,
no, he won't.
Nah, the selection was just off. That's why for me, Oli must hang his head in shame. Oli gonna freestyle didn't happen this game. But we move on. Gonna slap West Ham 4-0 and confirm Champions League, isn't it?
We looking for serious things, man. Champions League is what we're looking for.
And gents, on to the Champions League, all the remaining Champions League fixtures. Yes, sir. So, any nice draws that you guys see lined up?
Let me tell you something, right? Let me just jump in, you know? Real Madrid against City is going to be more interesting than people think, you know? A lot of people think it's going to be a City win, you know? City is going to come out, dominate, they're at home and all of that. But we do realize that in most games now, the home advantage has somewhat been taken out.
It means nothing.
You know? Mm-hmm. See how Liverpool's performing, eh? So, you know, that's a factor. And also, I think Zidane and his men have that confidence thing from winning the league that, yo, maybe we can actually do this, yeah? My only problem is they lack stars in France, in the sense of that, as much as they have Benzema, right? Benzema, you'd find him in the game, somewhere on the wing, sometimes in the midfield collecting the ball, because he works so much. And I feel like he overworks as a striker. And as much as he was scoring this season, it's because no one else was scoring. I'd personally want Zidane to play Bale, which he's not going to do. But I think they would only win if Bale, they'd only win convincingly if Bale were to start, because he's one of those players who can show up in big games, and he can alleviate the pressure from Benzema or any other big player. Because we remember back in Ronaldo times, when Ronaldo wasn't pulling up, Bale was there, you know, and it was that combination. But right now, as much as they have Vinny and the other small boys, Vinicius maybe, but the others aren't, for me, they still aren't on their big game form, you know. Even Hazard, Asensio, Rodrigo, the other wingers, they aren't on that big game thing. And against a team like City, you need that, and you need to have that big game mentality. If you don't, City can punish you, and they can punish you early. They can start playing the ball. They can start keeping the ball. And as much as Madrid have a good defense, when City plays the ball for long enough, any team gets tired out. The big teams get tired out. So I just think, personally, you know, it's going to be an interesting game. But to make it more interesting in the favor of Madrid as a fan, they'd have to start Bale. It's an agenda, but I think it's an agenda that makes sense.
Yeah, the thing is, I want City to win, because I prefer it when English teams win the Champions League so that we can stop hearing this stupid slander on Twitter, nif, all the time. You know, these La Liga merchants are always just chatting their shit. Yo, and Star, you know, you and your partner in crime, money manager.
2 years.
You and your
2
partner
years.
in crime. I'm just sitting there. I'm trying to enjoy my peace watching United. Yeah, the first half was a dead game. But all you keep hearing, oh no, could never be La Liga, could never be this.
La Liga.
Shut
La
it,
Liga
man.
merchants.
Shut it, man.
Bro,
La Liga merchants.
The team that has dominated La Liga.
Do something real quick. I'm gonna be back.
Bro, the team that has dominated La Liga the past decade, the past 3 Champions League, they get slapped up by teams like Roma. I won't hear any slander. I won't hear any slander on my English teams, bro. Like, I think people need to start giving. Obviously, La Liga football, it's nicer to watch. But just because something is nicer to watch doesn't make it necessarily more effective. That's my chat. English teams over the past few years have been coming up in the Champions League. Give credit where it's due. I mean, Liverpool made back-to-back finals.
And Madrid made back-to-back.
Yeah, no.
But you see,
the
thing is, in the top 10 or the top 10 best football clubs in the world, probably 1 and 2 are in La Liga, and then the rest are like they're all dead, bro. It's Barca and Real Madrid, dude. Then the rest are dead, dude. But if we're talking about quality throughout the 20 clubs, it's in England, bro. It's literally in England.
Let me tell you something, my nigga.
We had a season where Payet was at West Ham, bro, and he was doing a madness at West Ham, dude. You see, but then in the French in Ligue 1, dude, he's there competing for the title, dude. But he comes to the Prem, he's at West Ham.
Competing for the title, wait, that's a lie thing, bro.
Dude, in Ligue 1, bro, he was there competing for the title, dude. He was there giving PSG a run, bro.
I remember Star even said, hey, Man City don't count because they don't play English football. I mean, come on, man.
Like, you know that.
Come on, man. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just give English teams no credit because they can and will hurt you. They can and will hurt you if you don't. So, like, respect the boys, isn't it? And that's why I think I back City. I think De Bruyne is tired of not having a Champions League. I think he's tired. And that's the best midfielder in the world. He starts at any team. So, and
can I tell you my agenda? My agenda on De Bruyne when was it? Last season. I say if De Bruyne was fit the entire season, City are winning Champions League and he's bagging Ballon d'Or. Like, people were giving me a lot of slander for that. Because De Bruyne didn't play in that semi-finals where they lost against thing. He was injured. He was unfit. And City bagged every English cup, every English trophy. The only cup that they missed out on was Champions League. And I say they beat Tottenham easily if De Bruyne is on the pitch, and they go on to clean Liverpool as well if De Bruyne is fit and on the pitch. And after that, give him his Ballon d'Or, dude, and he's chilled, he's calm, bro.
And
okay, let's talk about PSG. Yeah, I think PSG have a strong chance of winning it, yeah, because they're playing Atalanta, which is an amazing team for the season, you know. Atalanta.
Gomez doing bits. Shout out, by man.
You know, but I think the PSG outfits, the chemistry there, Mbappe, Star, Neymar, and Neymar's got back into fitness, yeah, and he's actually playing like he wants to play. And when Neymar's in a good mood on the field, it's a problem. We know this, and I personally believe, if not Bayern Munich, PSG. It's not Bayern Munich, PSG. And if that happens, it's yeah, not an English team, but yeah.
I think for me, the issue at PSG, for me, has always been that midfield. Like, whoever plays in that midfield trio, right, do they have enough to compete with the other team's midfield trios? That's what I've always worried about PSG, because Verratti is dead food, guys. I don't know what people see in that kid. For me, he's dead food.
Oh my gosh.
He's dead food.
Nah, bro, he's not dead.
Nah,
dude.
he's dead food, bro. I won't even try and chat on it. Verratti's dead food. Who else in that midfield?
Idrissa got.
Idrissa Gana
Idrissa's a boss, bro.
Dude,
Idrissa's a boss.
I hope you're not gonna put slander on Idrissa's name.
I mean, bro, he ran away from the Prem to go to the Farmers League, and it says enough.
No. Oh,
nah, bro, come on. Idrissa is a coach.
He was playing at Everton, man. He was playing at Everton.
My man. Hey, wait, nah. Let me stop capping. Idrissa's quality, but Verratti's dead food, and no one's gonna change my mind on that. For me, Verratti doesn't even get into United's starting midfield. That's how dead food
That's because there's Pogba. That's because he definitely is, dude. He's playing behind Pogba. He's definitely playing behind Pogba.
Nah. Verratti's dead food.
Okay, no. Defensively, he doesn't have it. In terms of like a CM, I think he's there. He has it.
If you have a team that's got running midfielders,
defend, dude.
If you have a team that has midfielders that run,
Baraka, don't argue with them. They just don't argue.
If you have midfielders, gents, wait, hear me out. If I have a team with midfielders that are running at me, what is that dead food nigga gonna give me, bro? He's not giving me anything, bro. Verratti's gonna make Henderson look world class, bro. And it's simple as. He's dead. I'm tired of this nigga, and I'm tired of people. I'm tired of people overrating Verratti because he's Italian. When I start because he's not English. If Verratti was English, was over now. You'd see also this kid is dead, bro. And that's why for me, PSG. That's why for me, I always have PSG got beaten by United's under 21s, bro. And he was dead. Verratti was dead.
Chief, you guys got a 90-something minute penalty. There was no Neymar. The boys weren't operating.
Man pulled his best. Dude, Verratti
illegitimate.
Nah, it hit his hand. Why is your hand up? It hit his hand. Why is your hand up?
Come on, dog.
It hit his hand. Come on, James. Come on. Like in big games, Verratti hits his best Danny Phantom impression and goes ghost. It's simple. Like we're not even gonna argue with it, bro.
I won't lie. That's a bold statement, Chief. I hope you watch enough PSG games to back it up.
Yo, I watch. The only big games PSG play are in the Champions League, bro. In that league, they don't play big games. All of those games are training games. Don't even come. The Uber Eats League. The Uber Eats League one. What kind of a name is that, bro? Like, listen to the name of the league. Either way, PSG are gonna eat regardless. Then, come on, bro. The only big game.
You know what? It's fine.
Fresh things, bro.
I just want the Champions League to start, and we'll see. You know, because I don't want to argue. This hurts me.
Hey, yo, add me. Yo, Verratti, if you put in a big performance, you know where I live, bro. Come on.
Who's the next Champions League matchup? I actually haven't seen the matchups.
Leipzig versus Atletico.
The first one is going to be Juventus versus Lyon.
Juve.
Guys, I don't know.
I don't know.
The two clubs I back for the Champions League are 1 Bayern, 2 Juve. I don't know why, but I actually really back Juventus to bag this
Juve
thing.
defensively are a bit questionable, yeah?
Yeah.
Look at their game.
I think it's
like they're sliding by on penalties and like 1-goal games. I think Lyon will put in another masterclass and go through. Unless man like Ron got something to say.
I think they're just going through a bad defensive patch. But otherwise, if you look at them player for player, I think they can actually defend. They're quite solid at the back. They're just going through a patch, but they've got it on lock.
I think with Juventus also, where there's a Mr. Champions League, there's a way.
Exactly. That's what I was also thinking.
Like, as long as Ronaldo is fit and ready to play, you can put them up there for contenders to win the Champions League. I mean...
Put Ronaldo in form, Dybala in form, Costa...
bro. He'll do it alone if he has to. We saw against Atletico last season, bro. Like, as long as that man is like there, bro, it's never over. Regardless of what the score is going to the second leg, it's never over as long as Ronaldo's in the team. That's the way I see it. They got BMT, unlike that tyrant there in Spain.
Hey. But also, guys, you think Barca
you're a waste, man. You
guys think Barca gonna go through?
Nah, no, man. They're playing Napoli, bro. No ways, bro. And if they get through, Bayern's gonna give them 10. Women's football, gentlemen.
Can I say something?
Is it underrated or overrated? I'll start with Star.
I also have a lot to say on this, bro.
Women's football, you see, now the thing is, women's football shouldn't be compared to men's football because fundamentally, 100%. The two parties have differences that matter in the game, in the sense of that physically, because football is a physical sport, and we know that there's a physical difference between men and women, right? And because of that, everything else changes. You know, I saw I think it was Barton, that English player,
Joey Barton.
Yeah. He made a very interesting point.
I saw that on Twitter the other day.
Yeah, and I think that's very important. That he said that if women's football, if people want women's football to be as entertaining or as competitive as male football, they should make the game to their physical stature, in the sense of that you can't have the same size poles for the guys as you get for the girls. Because, for example, De Gea is 190 something probably. Thibaut Courtois is 190 something. The sizes of these people are so different. But if you look at the goals, right? Go look at the goals from the World Cup. Go look at the goals from the top leagues in the women's thing. And you think to yourself, like, man,
that screamer. Steve, do you remember that scremer?
I could have reached that.
Mate.
Bro, podcast winner. And I know you're also thinking of that City screamer.
You see, and because of that, it takes away from the football. Because also,
insert the clip here.
I can give you an example. Like my brother were talking about how South African pitches, right? People don't understand, but South African pitches are way too big compared to European pitches. Maybe the Camp Nou pitch is very big, but in general, the Moses Mabhida Stadium, the Soccer City, if you look at the size of the pitch, it's very big. And that makes it harder for football to be more entertaining. Because if you have a really big pitch, players need to run more. And by virtue of that only, the quality goes down. And now imagine you have women in the same space. They run more. The shots are going to be weaker. The play is going to be slower. If you watch the Women's World Cup, I'm sorry, I couldn't watch the whole game. Like, I couldn't finish 8
Same. I won't even lie to you.
In women's football, not because it's a bad sport, but because of how slow it was. And I was just like, hey man, come on, you know. So I think if we want to improve something, just downsize. Just you know, downsize.
Just to add on to what Star.
Okay, I'll go. Okay.
Must I go quick?
Yeah, go. You're adding on.
Okay. So just on that note, women's football shouldn't be compared to men's football because, like what Star said, it physically is a slower game. It might not be as entertaining. And also the chat of like women's pay versus men's pay. I feel as though in the world of sports, you only get paid with what you bring in to the sports.
That's business, so bro. Like,
if women's football only brings 50 million a year, like you can't expect to be getting paid 100 million and compare yourself to Ronaldo, because Ronaldo is bringing, like, you know, football hundreds of millions a year, if you get what I'm saying. It's you can't really complain that you're not getting paid the same if you're not bringing in as much. It's like, I don't know, a PSL star complaining that Mason Greenwood is getting paid more than him. But, bro, the PSL doesn't make that money. Even though you have all of your MTN 8s, if you have 5 MTN 8s, you have 3, I don't know, PSL trophies, and all of that stuff.
Revenue.
The PSL doesn't make that much.
Vodacom Nines.
Hey, bro. Vodacom Nines. Dude, Mason Greenwood only has 15 goals in his professional
Vodacom
career.
Nines.
He has 0 cups, 0 trophies. But, bro, he deserves more money than you because him putting on a United shirt brings in millions, bro. So, also with that, dude, like, they shouldn't compare, like, the football and stuff, but how much does women's football actually bring in? And that's literally how much you can get paid. So yeah.
From my perspective, I think you have to look at it from the sense of like, I got to explain because I used to be very like I was like in terms of women's football, like it was okay, not necessarily it must chill, but like the expectations of like the women's football fan base and all of that.
Expectations.
Relax. It's that thing for me. I think it needs time because if you look at let's say if you go look at the Premier League matches in like the 60s and all of that, those were dead ballers. Like the football looks very boring and all of that. So
respect my man's George Best.
Like I know they were good players and all of that, but just in general, the excitement of it all, and all of that, it just didn't have what it takes. And as it grew, as it developed, a friend used the example of almost like BEE, like quota type things. It's the sense that they've been disadvantaged the entire time, so give them the platform to grow, and then you can take it from there. But it works both ways. They need to be given the platform to be able to grow, modernize their game, like Star saying, in a way that best suits them and tailors for women and all of that. But it needs to be rational on both sides. You can't then see that and be like, okay, sharp, I want 100 million a year type things. You want transfers at this, you want salary at that. It needs to be give and take. They need more effort needs to be put in terms of like promoting women's football, developing it and all of that. But then given that the difference in the years that men's football has been around, they can't expect to reap the benefits that male footballers have now when they haven't come that far along. That's how I see it.
Didn't the under 16 Dallas boys beat the World Cup winners, bro?
Oh no, under
They beat
15s,
the US. That's what I was also thinking, bro. Like it's hard to defend you if you're gonna lose to the under 15 Dallas boys, bro.
And it's Dallas, bro.
But guys,
dead ballers. It's not even like they in Europe, bro. Like, man.
You see, my thing is, guys. Like my thing is, and so sorry if I'm Daft Punking here, but my thing is that, it's like the real villains of all of this, the real villains of women's football, the FAs, bro. No, dude, like bro, it's the FAs, like the football associations of each country, for not having proper development structures within the country to find women. Because for example, Banyana, half those players aren't professional players in the sense of they don't wake up every day to play football properly. They are doing other things on the side. And how many guys can say the same? You know, I think if there were proper development structures, you know, where like whereby women are encouraged to play football and take it up as a professional career, I think we would see
but don't you think they do things on the side because women's football doesn't pay?
No, but then that's not the thing, though. The thing is that it's not given much interest by the bodies that allow people to make money from whatever sport that is. You know, even PSL, for example. Even PSL, for example, like, hey man, being a professional player in the PSL, like it's not as glamorous as playing Prem, for example. You see, because even South African football, as much as Bafana are okay, but they're not as good as other countries because of the developmental structures within our own SAFA, bruh. Like, I mean, the top high schools in the country aren't even producing Bafana players. What is that? Whereby if you compare it to rugby, your top high schools that play the top rugby produce
That's
the Springboks. But now the top countries in the country aren't producing Bafana players. You see, and that is the problem. That is the problem. So for women's football, I think it would have to start there from the FAs to put in. And I like what England is doing. I think England and America have been doing it for a long time, whereby you start in those levels. You start in high school. You start in your clubs. You tell clubs, okay, bring us a women's team, and we'll provide a league for you. And then because the Lionesses weren't nearly as good as they are now or in the past. Because right now teams have women's teams, basically. Like United, I think the United women's team started like a few years ago. Already we have a United women's player in the Lionesses team. Stuff like that.
Who's Lioness?
Stuff like that. Because I feel like the English women's team. I feel like as much as we say no women's football, I think the wrong women are playing football. If you get what I'm saying. For example, what Lesedi said with the fact that yes, you had your George Best, you had your great players there in the past, but they were playing among people who left, the game, and then Monday morning they have to wake up and go to work. Like that person's not going to be serious about football. That person's going to be like, okay, no, I'm earning my wages on Monday. I need to be at work, whatever. I'm a doctor. I'm an engineer. They're not football oriented. Whereas now Mason Greenwood literally has to wake up tomorrow and go train because he's focused. He's like, I'm a football player. I'm not doing anything else. Exactly.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Don't you think that's a financial thing?
Yeah, it's a financial
thing. Because in the past, it really is. Because in the past, bro, people would do two jobs because if you check their wages, the wages they used to receive from football and stuff, it was peanuts. It was a thing of everybody played professional sports, and it wasn't even considered professional. It was considered semi-pro. That's because you wouldn't be able to make a living of only being a United player or being a Barcelona player. You had to do something else.
It can work both ways.
And that's what I'm saying. Even now with women's football, you can't make a living of only being a Banyana player. You literally can't. You have to do something else.
And sport, to add on to that,
and that's why I said the FAs, bro. It's the FAs that are messing.
Why aren't there women's leagues, cups, tournaments?
Exactly.
Scouts.
Because people won't watch,
to...
bro. Imagine pumping money into something people won't watch.
So you see, that is the wrong sort of perspective to have because, bro, I've seen women play other sports. They definitely have the athleticism or even like the same, basically.
That is why I feel as though women's... the best thing would be Star and Joey Barton's thingy of actually physically making it smaller in the women's NBA, lower the rim. Because bro, I'm telling you now, I'm not gonna go to an NBA game if I know that there will be absolutely no dunk in this game. Nobody can actually reach the rim. I'm just going to watch layups and threes. I'm not going to that game, bro. I'm literally not.
Just pretend high school, bro.
You see, even in, what do you mean? High school people dunk. Dude, high school boys are dunking from 15. They throwing roundhouse dunks, 360 dunks. But for me to watch a women's game, I have to follow one hand, bro.
And sport, just to add on,
bro, so I can see her dunk. I'm not watching that game.
Just to add on to what Baraka says, I watch a lot of sport, and that also comes watching the women's version. So I've watched women's cricket, women's tennis, like the biggest thing
is interesting.
The wrong
women's
tennis.
Women's tennis, they have it right. They have it right.
I will watch. I will pay to watch Serena over watching other men's tennis games. That is interesting, bro.
Do you know why they have it right? Wait, listen. Listen.
Yeah.
Do you know why they have it right? Women's tennis, the tennis players almost earn as much as men because they bring in almost as much. And secondly, the women's game, it's toned down. In a major, women play best of 3, but men play best of 5. They know nobody wants to see like the women's one stretch out that far. We don't want to see best of 5 sets. You know what I'm saying?
Because they physically not as active or
they have it
as
right.
men.
Like women's tennis, sometimes you can see
women's football, they must play 60 minutes on a smaller pitch. That will be such an interesting game. You guys are laughing.
Hey, 80.
Make women's football.
No. But Baraka's
make
preaching.
Women's football.
Football didn't start.
Minutes a half. Make women's football 35 minutes a half on a slightly smaller pitch. That sport will make more money.
It will
literally make more money. More people will watch. But if you're going to make it 45 minutes on the same size pitch.
That's exactly what he's saying. And it makes sense that way because it happened the same with men's football. It wasn't where it is now. The goals were square. Matches weren't as long as they were now and stuff like that. So you just need to give it time to see. You can't start it at its pinnacle. So
can I jump in there?
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is the wrong people are on the pitches for all these sports, bro. Because I mean, bro, put Serena at centre back. I am telling you, the USA women's team will not concede anything.
With Serena, I like that you brought her up. Serena won't even beat the top 20 men in tennis. But let's move on.
Not even.
She won't even beat the top 20.
Guys, wait. See, what Sibo's getting what Sibo is getting at here is not just it's not an ability chat. It's more of the reason why you don't have the best is because the environment doesn't incubate the best, right? I'll make an example. If I am in a class where most of the people are averaging 40, in high school, and I'm a smart person, maybe my potential is to get the 90s, but because sometimes when you're in a class where there's not a lot of people who are as smart, your marks don't hit those numbers, because you're just like, okay, if everyone's getting 40 and I'm getting 60, I'm like, okay, no, then I'm doing well. Some people push for more, but that needs you to push extra, and when you take that into soccer, what's happening is, yes, we have players, women players, but there are not a lot of them to have a pool enough to get the best talent, and it's not from a very young age. That's what Sabo is saying. He's saying, for example, for me and my primary school, the reason why we were the best primary school in our district for a minute was because at first break we were playing soccer, at second break we were playing soccer, in between lessons and when we had freeze, we were playing soccer the whole time. After school, we're playing soccer. And then whenever we got to practice, and even during holidays, we even had soccer camps. Like primary school, they basically ran it as an academy. But what happens there is you get the best, because you're able to differentiate between the good and the bad. You're able to get the best from there. And that's not happening in women's football. In men's football, it is.
And even that is a micro system of finding the best.
No, that's 100% correct. I just didn't understand what Sibo was saying of women are more athletic or even as athletic.
No, but I'm saying,
that's not true, bro.
I said they have the potential. Because, dude, watch other sports. Watch other...
name them.
No, like
add those sports.
That's the thing.
Add those sports.
No, just
add
watch
them.
Can I tell you that the most entertaining women's sports are the ones where they're playing one-on-one against each other. That's because it's within how can I say, their abilities. But bro, if you're gonna play basketball on the same basketball courts that LeBron James plays on, and he plays in a team, and dude, you'll see the difference. You literally don't have to, dude. You'll have to how can I say, be naive to say there's no difference. Yeah,
and for
you have
me,
to be naive to see that Rapinoe and Neymar are the same thing, or are not the same thing. They're worlds apart, bro.
Rapinoe is good.
Rapinoe is. She's
bro.
A baller. Nobody said that.
Nobody.
She's a baller, dude. But you literally can't compare her to. You literally can't compare her to Lingard, even, bro. Dude, we saw that video of Bolasie and Wilfried Zaha
just running through these men, bro. Like
and
2 versus 11.
Bolasie got sold from Crystal Palace, bro. Bolasie got sold from Crystal Palace at Everton. He got injured. They offloaded him to Belgium, and he plays in a Farmers League. But look at what he's doing to Crystal Palace, bro. You literally can't compare the two.
And sport also, like,
can't.
That comment for me, man, I'll believe that comment when there's a woman who's got an Olympic time faster than a man's. That's
bro.
That's where I'll
remember. Like, yeah, no, sure. But guys, before we end this chat, right? And just remember, like modern civilization is very young compared to what we give it credit. So, like, dude, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, even, bro, black people weren't even considered people, and women weren't even considered equal to men.
To people who are not people.
But now you're fetching it far now, bro.
Everything. No, but listen. Yeah, no, wait. I'm coming back. So everything is catching up. So with how we living, laws, and sports also is catching up. I just think
that won't mean a woman will run 9.58, dude, because the world is equal. That won't mean a woman will run 9.58 because the world is equal.
No,
it won't mean that more women will be able to dunk.
There is someone. Wait, listen. I am saying that obviously there are women taller than Steph Curry, taller than LeBron, bro.
But they still can't dunk.
Yeah, no, but listen.
Women who are 7 foot and are layup merchants, they can't dunk. They literally taller than all of those guys, the people who can't dunk.
No, but what I'm saying is the people who can do all of that, the woman who can run faster than 9 whatever, is not running. She is somewhere out there in the world doing something.
We're gonna keep going in circles here. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going in circles here because I know, but obviously those are the chats. I think the whole thing about the league, which league is the best league, that's always gonna be subjective. I mean, we know what you call this. The quality of football played in the other top 5 leagues in Europe is higher than, the quality of football you see in the Premier League. Premier League sometimes it's route one, it's gritty, In that case, I agree with you, Star, 100%.
That was my point. That was my point.
But at the end of the day...
Then you can't argue against that because anything else is, okay, you're highlighting a shoe, the best of a bad bunch. And because it gets the coverage, it gets the advertising, it gets the promoting that it does, then you take it to a new level of glorifying it. Across the board, I really believe every bottom half team in La Liga beats bottom half in the Prem. I know because I watched enough games of La Liga.
No way.
That's bullshit,
that's
never happening.
That's
nonsense, dude.
You see the issue with that, bro. The issue with that, like, nah, bro. Like, you see me.
You guys already have your viewpoints set in stone about this.
Thank you.
No,
and you're ready to live by those.
You
guys haven't watched.
Hey, bruv, listen. Just because the football you play looks
Christian
more attractive,
take a hat-trick against Rayo Vallecano,
the football that's being played looks more attractive, doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna have the better teams. Look at Arsenal; they played the most attractive football in the Prem for so many years.
You don't have a perspective you're working off. In your life, have you ever watched the Getafe Leganes?
I have, and my daddy's watching it, bro, and I'm not impressed.
Why are you lying? The most you probably watched the Blitz highlight, or when you watched it on catch up. That's the only time you watched it.
I've watched an Udinese game when Di Natale used to play. if you guys don't know Dinatelli, then don't tell me you know your football.
We know.
When Dinatelli used to be a gunman for
Antonio.
I watched that guy.
Did you watch
Antonio
Palmer or
Antonio Dinatelli?
I watched, dude, Udinese, and when Dybala was at Palermo, I watched those games, bro.
So,
when Udinese was there banging 12 spots or whatever, and it's dead, bro. Dinatelli was the only guy doing anything.
For me,
no, but the thing is, no one's arguing Serie A. We're talking La Liga.
For me, it's all about storylines. For me, it's all about. I think for me, I look for storylines. The Premier
read a book if you're looking for a storyline. The storyline doesn't determine the football.
Please, for me, what also makes the build up to a match is the storylines. I mean, we have what now the El Clasico movies that play, the El Clasico movies that play on DSTV. What it means to the players, the city. You get psyched for the game, and like me, I feel like in the Premier League, more of that happens, and we get to see and experience more of that. Build up and hype for some of the matches, and to me, that's
another example, bro. Like that day where Wolf Zaha woke up and that fan sent some racist things, bro. And so that whole day was just like Crystal Palace versus racism, bro. And you hate to see it. Racism won that day, bro. Yeah, racism won. And I was sad. But that's the story. I watched that game. I watched that game because I wanted Wolves Zaha to be fueled by that thing, bro, and score a hat trick. And bro, racism won that day.
And even footballers will tell you. I remember Martial when he first joined United, and they asked him the biggest difference he notices. He's like, in England, stadiums are full for every game. He's like, when he would play Lyon versus the bottom 5 teams, whatever, the stadium is half empty. Like, there's a few people there. But there in the Premier League, Norwich versus West Ham, it is full, bro. It is packed everywhere.
Oh,
it is
man.
jam-packed.
The footballing culture in England, I think that you cannot like forget about that. Like, the songs, Up the Boys, Come On You Gunners, Come On You Spurs. Some of the songs of the rival teams, I know them. Because it's that culture, it makes you want to be like,
bro,
oh shit.
You don't speak
blowing bubbles,
but now they in Spain.
Pretty bubbles in the sky.
Me busy there in La Liga.
But just because you don't but again, that's what you watch and that's what you're exposed
to. Dude, get out, bro.
Yeah, no, but I think we can all agree that it's a subjective thing. I'm always gonna think the Prem is the best because the one I watch the most to start off with, and I just think for me, like I like the storyline.
The most watchable one.
Whereas like La Liga, I can understand why some people think it's La Liga. I mean, that pass that Isco keep out for Asensio, you won't see that in the Prem often. And outside of the foot, you won't see that. But me, I'd rather see, a young,
Buendia did that.
A young Dele Alli versus the world in the Prem because everybody hates that brother. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's the storyline.
Oh, man,
I prefer that.
Out of here.
That's why, like, also El Clasico for me, I also prefer because we know these players hate each other. We knew that there was like a decade, there was like a stretch of El Clasico games where we knew there was always gonna be a red card. Storylines, and that's what we're here for in football. We're here, it's not just another football game. No, we want to see like the players, blood, sweat, and tears into them. And we want to see them fight for the badge. We want to see them. Whereas in the league, I don't feel like we get that. It's just.
But Chief, just based off what he's saying,
a league full of Pujols.
Do you see how that stems from the fact that the only matches in La Liga you like are the ones you're exposed to and you actively go out and watch?
Yeah.
Because they're the most enjoyable ones.
Because those are the only enjoyable ones.
Yeah.
Imagine a league full of Pirlos. I'm chilled, dog. Chilled.
I think last thing I want to touch on before we close it out, Messi needs to stop doing his corruption there at the Ballon d'Or offices. Big up my boy Lewandowski.
Bro, Bruno for Ballon d'Or, bro.
What are you saying? Mason Greenwood, dog.
Daffy.
What are you saying?
Bro, team of the season, done. Ballon d'Or was next, and they robbed them, bro.
Gents, I think for today,
we've been here for 2 hours.
Yeah,
bro.
we're gonna have to leave it
and
there.
Niggas hungry as shit.
Some of us have a cup game at 8:30, so we need to get on our bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Practice.
But like honestly, gents, thank you.
Who has a cup game at 8:30?
The three of us here, the Sadie Sport at 9. But gentlemen, thank you for coming on. This has been the Offside Podcast, episode 6. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And if anyone wants to come on, DM me. I'm not a monster. But like, thanks, gents.
Hey, Bope, let's go find her, bro.
Find who? Oh, let's go find her, dog.
Yeah.